Truckers, it's Young Diesel, and I've got some news today that's going to hit every single UPS driver like a freight train at full speed. I'm talking about something that could change the entire landscape of trucking as we know it. Something that's got the Teamsters fired up, UPS management scrambling, and thousands of drivers staring at the biggest decision of their careers. But what I'm about to tell you is happening right now. Not next year, not next month, but starting July 18th, 2025. That's today's date, brothers. UPS just dropped a voluntary buyout program that's got the trucking world spinning faster than a Jake brake on a mountain grade. Here's what we know, and trust me, every detail matters. UPS is offering full-time drivers a voluntary separation package. They're calling it the DVSP, the Voluntary Separation Program. But here's where it gets interesting and a little scary. They're offering $1,800 for every year you've been grinding in those brown trucks. Every single year of service equals $1,800. Now let me paint you a picture. You've been driving for UPS for 15 years. That's $27,000 before Uncle Sam takes his cut. 20 years? That's $36,000. But here's the kicker, and this is where UPS is being somewhat generous or maybe just covering their bases legally. Even if you're brand new, even if you've only got a couple years under your belt, they're guaranteeing a minimum of $10,000. But hold up. Before you start calculating your payout and thinking about that fishing boat you've been eyeing, there's a storm brewing that's bigger than any weather system you've ever driven through. The Teamsters, specifically Local 710, are not just upset about this. They're ready for war. And when I say war, I mean they're filing protests, they're threatening arbitration, and they're saying UPS is violating their collective bargaining agreement. This isn't just some minor disagreement over parking spots or break times. This is about the fundamental way UPS can restructure their workforce. See, here's what's really happening behind the scenes. UPS isn't just offering buyouts because they're feeling generous. They're in the middle of what they're calling their largest network reconfiguration in company history. Translation, they're bringing in more robots, more automation, more technology that doesn't need coffee breaks, doesn't call in sick, and doesn't need health insurance. The writing's on the wall, and it's written in LED lights and computer code. UPS is preparing for a future where they need fewer human drivers, fewer human sorters, fewer human hands touching their packages. This buyout, it's their way of downsizing without the bad publicity of mass layoffs. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this is where every trucker watching needs to pay attention. The Teamsters are saying UPS hasn't been transparent about how they're going to select who gets approved for these buyouts. See, just because you apply doesn't mean you're automatically approved. They're using a seniority system, but nobody knows exactly how many positions they're looking to eliminate or which specific roles are targeted. Think about that for a second. You could apply for this buyout, start making plans, maybe even put a down payment on that retirement property, and then get denied because you're not senior enough or because they already hit their quota. Meanwhile, UPS keeps you on the payroll until they're ready for the next round of cuts, except next time it might not be voluntary. All right, so the application window opens today and runs through a specific period. If you're approved, your separation date could be anywhere from August 31st to October 31st, 25, with some positions potentially extending into early 26. That's a pretty tight timeline to make one of the biggest financial decisions of your life, you know? Now, let's talk about what this really means for every driver out there, whether you're UPS or not. This is a canary in the coal mine moment for our entire industry. If UPS, one of the largest employers of truck drivers in the country, is proactively reducing their workforce through buyouts, what does that tell us about where trucking is headed? Every major carrier is watching this closely. FedEx, Amazon, DHL, they're all dealing with the same pressures. rising fuel costs, increasing demands for faster delivery, and advancing automation technology. UPS is just the first to pull the trigger on a large-scale workforce adjustment. For those of you driving for UPS right now, this decision isn't just about the money. It's about timing. It's about your age, your family situation, your backup plans. Are you close enough to retirement that this buyout could bridge the gap? Do you have skills that translate to other industries? Is your local job market strong enough to support experienced truck drivers? And here's something most people aren't talking about. If you take this buyout, you're likely signing a non-compete agreement. That means you might not be able to immediately jump to FedEx or another direct UPS competitor. You might be looking at local delivery, long-haul trucking, or even getting out of trucking altogether. The Teamsters are fighting this because they know something UPS doesn't want to advertise. This is just the beginning. If UPS succeeds in reducing their workforce through voluntary buyouts without major pushback, every other unionized trucking company is going to try the same playbook. But there's another angle to consider. What if you don't take the buyout and UPS decides 6 months from now that they need to make deeper cuts? What if the next round isn't voluntary? What if the next package isn't as generous? You might be looking at straight layoffs with minimal severance based on whatever the minimum legal requirement is. I've been talking to drivers across different companies and the consensus is mixed. Some guys are saying this is UPS throwing in the towel on treating drivers as long-term investments. Others are saying it's smart business, preparing for an automated future while still taking care of their people. Here's what we know for certain. The trucking industry is changing faster than a gear shift on a steep grade. Autonomous vehicles aren't science fiction anymore. They're being tested on real roads with real freight. Warehouse automation isn't coming, it's here. Package sorting facilities that used to employ hundreds of workers are now running with dozens. The question isn't whether these changes are coming. The question is whether companies like UPS are going to manage this transition in a way that takes care of their people, or whether they're going to prioritize shareholder profits over employee welfare. And that's exactly why the Teamsters are so fired up about this. They're not just fighting for the drivers who might take this buyout. They're fighting for every driver who's going to face similar decisions in the next 5 to 10 years. Now, if you're a UPS driver watching this, here's my advice. And I'm not a financial advisor, but I've been around this industry long enough to see patterns. First, read every single word of that buyout agreement. Understand exactly what you're signing, what benefits you're giving up, what restrictions you're agreeing to. Second, talk to your family. This isn't just your decision. This affects everyone who depends on your income, your health insurance, your retirement contributions. Make sure everyone understands what taking this buyout means for your household's long-term financial security. Third, have a backup plan before you sign anything. Know exactly what you're going to do on September 1st if you take that August 31st separation date. Have job leads, have applications submitted, have a plan for maintaining health insurance during the transition, and fourth, stay connected with your union representatives. The Teamsters are fighting this for a reason. They might have information about UPS's long-term plans that could influence your decision. They might know about upcoming contract negotiations that could change the landscape entirely. For those of you driving for other companies, don't think you're immune to this trend. Start having conversations with your management about their automation plans. Start building skills that complement technology rather than compete with it. Start networking within your company and industry so you're not caught off guard if your employer decides to follow UPS's playbook. The reality is that trucking is becoming a more specialized field. The days of just knowing how to drive and having that be enough for job security are ending. The drivers who thrive in the next decade are going to be the ones who embrace technology, who develop additional skills, who position themselves as valuable assets rather than replaceable labor. But here's the thing that gives me hope about our industry. Trucks still need human oversight. Customers still value human interaction. Complex logistics still require human problem solving. The role of the truck driver is evolving, not disappearing. Companies that recognize this and invest in retraining their workforce, in developing hybrid human technology systems are going to have that ultimately weakens their service quality and employee morale. The Teamsters are betting that UPS is choosing the wrong path. They're betting that this buyout is the first step in a race to the bottom that will ultimately hurt both drivers and the company's ability to compete effectively. Time will tell who's right, but for every driver facing this decision right now, the stakes couldn't be higher. This isn't just about whether to take a buyout package. This is about how you position yourself for the future of trucking. What I want to know is what you think about all this. Are you a UPS driver? Are you considering this buyout? Are you worried about similar programs coming to your company? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get a conversation going about how we as drivers can navigate these changing times. And remember, whether you're hauling for UPS, driving local delivery, or running long-haul cross-country, we're all in this together. The decisions being made in corporate boardrooms today are going to affect every single one of us tomorrow. Stay safe out there. Keep your eyes on the road and your ears open for industry news, and I'll catch you in the next video where we'll be diving deep into what other major carriers are planning in response to UPS's move. Don't forget to like this video if it gave you some insight into what's happening in our industry. Subscribe for more trucking news and analysis, and hit that notification bell so you never miss content that could impact your career. Until next time, this is Young Diesel, and remember, knowledge is power in trucking. The more you know about where this industry is headed, the better you can position yourself to thrive no matter what changes come our way.